first and foremost, the application this morning is what you call an application for judicial review and an interim injunction to prevent spice mass from inserting into the clauses of contracts of potential vendors for Carnival that seek to exclude the Monk Pure products. So in order to apply for judicial review, you have to go through a process seeking leave first or permission of the court to apply for judicial review proceedings. And what we are contending is that the procedure adopted by Spice Mass to secure contracts for Carnival was wrong, and ultimately we are seeking certain declarations reflecting that they did not go about it the right way, and the manner in which they did it effectively excluded the sale of Monk Pure products for the main Carnival activities. So the court granted leave. Or permission for us to proceed to file the judicial review proceedings, and also granted interim relief, meaning in the meantime that Spice Mass is not to include those clauses in the contract, and they gave an interim declaration stating that to put those clauses in the contract would be in violation of the Public Procurement Act. So we have 14 days now to actually file the judicial review proceedings. We are contending that the process is illegal. Now, part of the challenge, as you know, Carnival is just 2-3 weeks away, and because of the process, that the court will not be able to determine that matter finally. So that is up in the air as to whether or not it could be done. We are contending that the contract that they entered into is void because as a public entity, remember Spice Mass Corporation is not a private entity, it is a public entity. And if it's a public entity, then there are certain procedures you must follow in accordance with the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Property Act. Act number 39 of 2014, but they did not follow these procedures. And basically what should have been involved is that they should have invited tenders, especially as they're making it exclusive. They should have invited tenders to bid, and the Monk Pure indicated very early in the game, since September 2018, that they were interested in becoming a sponsor for Carnival. So what that act says is that the objective of the act is to ensure that there's a level playing field, ensure that you promote, not stifle Carnival. And that's all part of the objectives of the act. So having done it, we contended that what flowed from that wrong procedure is void. So that matter has not been decided. We have just gotten some interim relief, which says that, listen, from now on, they ought not to put those clauses in the contract. The court has not finally determined that matter. And because Carnival is so close that there is no time based on the procedural steps that must be followed. So for example, within 14 days, we have to file a claim for judicial review. That will take us almost close to Carnival Monday, the first August Monday. Then that leaves almost Carnival the next week. So the issue is wide open because the court has not determined these final issues as yet. So it is a matter for the individuals to proceed as they are legally advised. But what I can tell you is because they fail to follow a mandatory process, then we are contending that those contracts they entered into were void.
Okay, so what was the main objective of the hearing?
Well, as I said, to apply for judicial review. In other words, in judicial review, the court has supervisory jurisdiction or authority over tribunals. And judicial review is concerned with process, not so much ultimate result. So if an entity like SpiceMass is responsible for selecting persons to sell through their own procedure, then no problem once they go through the right process. The court now, we're asking the court to intervene to say, listen, they have not followed the correct legal process. And as a result, what that has done is to exclude a competitor from being able to sell at the main carnival activities. Because those rules that have been set is not set by the laws of Grenada. It's SpiceMass saying, listen, if we have a sponsor, now the question is, how much is that sponsor paying? If it was open for bidding, Mount Pio may have been able to provide 10 times more the level of sponsorship. So open it out for bidding, and you can have situations where it's fair, where everybody can have an opportunity to eat a piece of the pie, to share in the pie. But when you have it exclusive, which says, you sponsor us, you will get all the promotion over the carnival period at our events. And plus, we'll exclude all competitors from selling at your events. Now, some people may say there are other carnival events. But as the court even observed, well, listen, if the main carnival events are concentrated where the crowd is, then you won't tell your competitor to go and sell where nobody is buying. So, those are important issues, and whatever the outcome of this case, ultimately, I'm sure it will change the way of doing business from next year. Because what we are asking is not to exclude anybody. We are not asking for the competitor to be excluded. And in fact, the competitor did nothing wrong. Competitor, a business person, and they negotiated, they got the best deal. What we are saying is that you must open the door and allow equal opportunity for others in the market, especially when you're making it exclusive. Because what you are saying, whoever you choose, and this gives you the opportunity to handpick anybody based on your own criteria that is not known to the public. So in future, I'm sure from next year, SpiceMass Corporation will be operating differently, because Mount Pio has invested a lot for this carnival, invested over $250,000 in terms of resources, personnel, just preparing for carnival, being the largest national activity in the country. And SpiceMass Corporation is not a private entity, it's a public entity, and therefore public entities must follow the right procedure to ensure equity and justice and the promotion of competition. Well, ultimately, the law is clear. The provisions of the Public Procurement Act, those are very clear. And he is persuaded on the basis of that. Remember, he's given an interim remedy. And at this stage, what the law requires is that we have an arguable case. And it is clear that an arguable case has been made out. But the objectives, what has been described as the lofty objectives of Section 3 of the Public Procurement Act, is that, listen, in matters of public procurement, what you must do, you must ensure fairness. You must promote healthy competition. You must not be exclusionary. That is essentially what the Act is saying. So it is really clear. I think the other side, the principal argument was that the Act does not apply in those circumstances. So all of these would be matters that we will deal with substantially at the hearing. Now, because of the timing of Carnival, a lot of these issues really will be determined after this year's carnival. But I believe at the end of it, then all parties will be clear, even Spice Mass, and the competitors for next week, because people sometimes just accept what the public body says. Nobody challenges anything, and they say, okay, if I can't sell my thing, I can't sell. But how much does the competitor pay, for example? If you had that opportunity, you may have paid significantly less, or significantly more. So I'm saying that Spice Mass could be a winner in all of this, because what it does, it promotes healthy competition. You can have a process in the future for inviting people to bid, and there may be conditions attached to the bidding. Like if you want to get a US visa, for example, there are certain things that you have to do, and that the best person there emerges. And with competition, the corporation can get more money, and with more money, they can pay out all the prize monies and to pay out all the debts that we frequently hear cannot be paid because there is the absence of money. So this is an excellent opportunity for Spice Mass in the future by changing the culture of operations, by complying with the laws to facilitate fair competition and at the same time make more money for themselves. So we are contending that it is legal for persons to sell, but the court has not yet determined that matter, and the court has not imposed any injunctions on any person saying they can't sell. So that is a matter, unfortunately, we can't hear it heard before Carnival, but I am sure it would be worth all the effort, because this would be beneficial for not just Montpellier, but for everybody in the future doing business with Spice Mass, but also for every public entity, because I'm sure the guidelines that will be given by the court at the ultimate conclusion of this matter will be beneficial to all.